Man, it smells good in here. Let's fire up.
Sounds good to me.
Getting me distracted here with this visual in front of me. Man, I used to get cooked for. Right. Welcome back to Okayest Cook Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Wansettler, coming at you from the studio with a special guest, Mr. John Wallace.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
The wild game cook. How are you?
Doing good, man. Nice little short drive over.
Yes. We're neighbors, and it's been way too long. I've been dying to have you on the show, and you're close enough that we got to do it in person. And
for sure.
It's been this long since the schedule's aligned. So, super happy to have you on. Super thrilled with the content you're making. Yeah, super fun. Definitely awesome, approachable meals. If you're not following John, Wild Game Cook, you got to find him. Super cool food dishes. I kind of gave away the intro, but do you want to talk a little bit more about yourself?
Sure.
Dip into your past if you want to, and talk about kind of what you're currently up to.
Yeah. So basically, I'm doing Wild Game Cook on social media platforms. Just trying to create content for companies in the outdoor space. It's just a passion of mine, trying to get people to eat wild game other than just deep fried, wrapped in bacon, etc.
Yes.
Spent a career in conservation, doing some fundraising for some nonprofits for a good bit of years. But finally took a chance on myself a couple years ago. That's how you and I connected. We filmed my Dove Sushi video, which is a recipe I'm super proud of because it kind of takes you back.
Such a good recipe.
Takes me back to why I started my channel, which was just everybody eats Dove poppers. I love Dove poppers. But kind of a different take. We made some sushi rolls out of it, using all those recognizable ingredients, and it just takes you to a whole nother place. And I'm not a trained chef or anything like that. I have a fish and wildlife degree. I'm self-taught. We got a little something here that we're going to try in a little bit that looks super fancy and presents well, but if this good old boy can do it, then anybody can do it. So, been doing it now for a little over 12 years, and it's coming together really good. So, just live in Ohio, not too far from you, and appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Well, 100% the self-taught is instantly what drew me to you. It's you're good at what you do, but there's not this aura of I'm a professional. I've got a degree and I've worked in Michelin restaurants. And
so that's
you're a dude. You're an average dude, and
I'm a home cook. So that is why the name is Wild Game Cook and not Wild Game Chef.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I probably had the ability to have that handle back in 2013. It just wasn't who I am. I'm a home cook, and I feel like chefs are properly trained, and I'm not properly. I'm not formally
somebody
trained,
will correct us, with some of the verbiage.
Sure, but I'm a home cook who enjoys to eat good food. I didn't grow up with maybe the best from scratch meals. We always had food on the table.
Yeah,
hamburger helper, American style tacos, Velveeta shells and cheese. That's what I grew up with. And when I went to college, there's no one there to cook for you, so you kind of get tired of eating ramen and mac and cheese and fast food, and I just learned from there and just keep kind of growing and learning.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, the little bit I've tried of your cooking has been spectacular. And those sushis, the Dove popper sushi was just exquisite. And I forget what episode it was, but definitely was I made them up and had them for the guys.
Oh, right.
And
right.
Yeah, they were just freaking out. Yeah, a huge hit.
Yeah, because they know what the flavors are. It's just in a different form. It just takes you to a whole new place.
It's a cooked sushi, so it's a little different. It's your take on sushi.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. Yeah,
for sure. Well, thank you.
Yes. Well, on to notable meals, and I think you've kind of spoiled it a little bit here. So I'm going to start with my notable meal, and it's kind of a success story in my book. And y'all know the channel. It's called Okayest Cook. I'm still learning, still getting used to all the things. But I got a set of stainless steel pans, and I'm trying to get used to cooking on those. And I made the perfect omelet the other day. Mm-hmm. Flipped just fine. It wasn't too brown. Didn't stick at all. But that was major success in my book. And finished. It in the end, it ended up sticking just a little bit. Some of the ingredients kind of fell out the side, but it was an omelet. It wasn't fancy scrambled eggs. So that's always a win.
Yeah, it's just practice. Practice. I cook a lot with cast iron. It's the same principle. You
Yep.
know, like you just got to preheat it properly.
Yes.
And then it takes care of itself. And if
Yep.
it doesn't, then you didn't do something correct.
Yep.
And so you learn. You know, everything's learning.
Yeah, but stainless steel, like it's a little bit more, or it's less forgiving, I would say, than cast iron, because cast iron kind of has the built-in anti-stick if you treat it properly. Whereas a stainless steel, man, you get that hot and you forget the oil, like it's game over.
Sure, I wouldn't be too forgiving of cast iron even if it's properly seasoned. If you don't know what you're doing, it'll be scrambled eggs.
There's always a way to mess up.
It'll be a mess in a heartbeat.
Yes.
I rarely will do scrambled eggs if I'm feeling real frisky and I'm feeling myself. I'm like, I think I could do scrambled eggs.
Throw enough
today.
butter in there, you're good. So
Yeah.
yes. Well, I'm assuming this is your notable meal.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. What is in front of us?
So this is a new recipe that I've kind of come up with, more of a dish than a recipe, but trying to better utilize duck legs or waterfowl legs, goose thighs, goose legs. And so these are what I'm calling duck leg wontons or duck leg dumplings. It's just a wonton wrapper with a meat filling. The meat is mallard legs that I deboned, and I put them in a food processor. You could put them in a grinder too if you want. If you don't have a food processor or a grinder, you could totally just chop it up with your knife and try to get as small as consistency as possible. But I want to tell you the ingredients and just know that many of these ingredients are optional. You don't have to put them in there. But it's the meat. I use a miso paste, which is from my friend Luke Costello's wife, Teresa. She told me like it's going to add some umami to it, some salt component to it. Again, it's optional, but it does add that sodium, that salt in there. Green onions. I put in raw chopped green onions as well as sauteed green onions. I just figured 2 different flavors, 2 different textures.
Yeah.
Minced garlic, chili flakes.
Digging in here.
Go ahead, eat one. So it's just in a wonton wrapper. I have posted the recipe recently on my Instagram page. The sauce is just a Bachan's original dipping sauce. Kind of complements it well. Be careful of your sodium because they can be too salty. So it can survive without the sauce. The sauce kind of takes it to the next level. But
Yes, dude.
they're not as fancy as it looks. Chris is a great stager and a great photographer to make these look really, really nice.
I didn't touch that plate.
But it's not that fancy. I don't know how to really fold or pleat the dumpling really well. I just kind of get in there and do what I think I've seen on TV a time or two. I first made this recipe for Luke for up there at one of his classes he hired me for. And I just, in my mind, I knew what needed to be in there. We had some duck legs available. You can make them in different varieties, as Chris will probably be showing you here some photos of the ones we ate beforehand.
Yeah, they'll be right here.
Yeah. But man, it's so good. And it's
Yes,
better than
100%.
just breasting out your birds. You know, like there's more to that bird. And to me, I think this recipe lends itself really well to waterfowl legs. You know, again, could be duck, could be goose.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it could be anything. Like it's, you know, if you're familiar with waterfowl, it does have a pretty strong flavor, and we'll talk about that, you know, here later in the episode. But like, I'm not getting any of that.
Sure.
Like, just like what would you call that? Just the kind of minerally.
When you overcook waterfowl,
that funk they put out,
yeah, it could be irony a little bit. You know, they're migrating, so like they're red-breasted birds, red meat, and if you do overcook it, I mean, people have tended to say it can kind of taste like liver. I mean, that you really should cook your waterfowl to medium at most.
Yes.
But the key to this was for the last 2 days I've been brining it in the high mountain Gamebird and Poultry brine. I'm just a big believer of that. It neutralizes any of those flavors and quite frankly makes it taste like deer meat.
Yeah.
I could say beef and it would taste like beef as well, but in our house, deer reigns supreme.
If you had no clue what that was, like, you would never guess duck.
No.
It just doesn't taste like duck.
It tastes like a dumpling. It just tastes like an Asian dumpling. You could argue it'd be pork and you wouldn't be able to argue it.
Yeah.
Because it's just meat. It's a texture that you're eating.
Yeah.
Again, you're in a certain place right now, right? You can use the chopsticks if you feel frisky.
if you can.
It's
Nice.
kind of something I'm tweaking. It's a big part of my page is just inspiring people to eat wild game in new ways.
Yeah.
And, you know, keeping the legs and then transforming those legs into this dish. I made them in a duck blind this year, which is really cool.
That's beautiful.
Kind of next level. Not very filling, so you might need to bring a lot of them. But yeah.
Yes. Well, see, I love like it's you know, any kind of dumpling like plays with that texture. So we got like nice crisp side and like a chewy, softer side, and then inside. So the meat's all like super consistent. It's like a homogeneous mixture. You said you used a food processor.
Yep.
But you did mention just chopping it up with a knife. Do you think that would be
It would not be as
good? Like just to have like the meat,
more coarse.
kind of like you do with brats. Like it's just different like a size consistency.
Sure. I
You
think
know
it would be.
You know what I'm trying to say?
I know exactly what you're trying to say. And I don't know the words. I'm not a chef by any means, but I believe that it would be better this way. But you could
More homogeneous and
Yep. But you should not make this recipe because you don't have a food processor or a grinder.
Sure.
If all you have is a couple of sharp knives, totally try this recipe.
just go to town.
You're just really going to have to mince it up the best way you can. Only again for that texture that you and I are expecting with the crisp, the chew, the softness of the meat. If you want a little bit more chew to the meat, then yeah, definitely. Even a grinder would be.
It would just be more of like a sausagey texture inside, but yeah, very, very smooth, very pleasant. Yeah, try it. Yep. Find the. You've got a link you said on your website.
Yeah, I posted it recently. You'll see a picture of some boned out mallard legs.
Yes.
If you look at the caption and take advantage of it, because I don't often write recipes down. It's not that I keep them top secret. Chris knows I just don't like writing and getting thoughts out of my brain and put them onto paper. So I knew this would be a hit, and I hope it inspires you to try it. The recipe, give or take, is all there. Many of the ingredients are optional. I want to point that out. Like if you don't have fish sauce, you don't need it. Yeah. If you don't have fresh ginger, you don't need it. If you don't have any of those things, just omit it and put in there what you want. But meat at a minimum, obviously, but garlic and green onions, I think, would be something you could totally buy or already have at your house. And then get after it.
Yes. Well, definitely, yeah, a lot of it's subbable, like you said. And like you've got to tailor it to yourself and to your audience.
You could use cabbage instead of green onions.
Yeah.
You could use shaved carrots. There's, whatever you want to do.
We got options. So yeah, write in. Tell us what you did differently. But it's beautiful. You should try it. It's something that I feel like a lot of people don't attempt because seeing this on the plate, like my instant thought is that's going to be complicated. But I saw you make them. And it came together crazy quick.
And I'm a fish and wildlife major. I'm just telling you, like, it's not that hard. As long as you don't care what it looks like at the end, it's going to taste amazing. And I have made it 4 or 5 times, so I've gotten better with presentation. The first couple, we won't talk about this.
They tasted good.
Yeah, they tasted great.
Yes. Well, let's dive into getting more from your ducks. You mentioned legs, that this is a perfect recipe for duck legs. And legs are 100% one of those things that, what do you say, like half the time they're left? More than half?
Way more than
half. Okay.
Yeah, I'd venture to say, and you guys could all chime in, I'd venture to say probably less than 10% of duck hunters, waterfowl hunters, keep the legs. 2 main reasons. One, they don't know how to cook them, but more so they weren't taught that they need to take them.
Yeah.
Just breast your birds out. I'll just breast them out, skin them out, breast them out. That's all you need to do. Take the breast meat. And that's how I was kind of mentored into it, if you will. But because I have a passion for cooking, I took the extra time. I will tell you that those legs came from a hunt in which our blind killed, I think, 12 mallards that day.
Okay.
And took them home, had them all, transported. And I spent more time than I'd care to admit cleaning them because I'm not a great processor. I'm not great at it, but I did.
It's tough work.
It's a lot of work.
The feathers.
To do that many birds.
So annoying.
Yeah, to do that many birds. If you wanted to make an appetizer for you and your family, you might only need 3 or 4 birds.
Yeah.
I had 12, and I went through there and I got all the legs that I could. I plucked all of the breasts so I can get nice skin on breast. Again, you can see that on some of my recent posts. It's a lot of work. It's a labor of love for sure. Sometimes the love is even, use that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But it's totally worth it because I enjoy taking stuff like this to friends and family and wowing them, whether they're hunters or not. They're like, oh my gosh, I never would guess that's duck or whatever. Yes. So I try to take the legs when I can. We don't get into a ton of birds. I mean, to quote, have a pile pick or to have these hunts where we're really stacking them up, that's not me. I'm scratching out a duck or 2 here and there, and that's kind of why I take the legs because I owe it to that bird. It's the only bird I've got sitting here. I've got 3 birds. The one thing I always try to take too is the heart and the liver. So in our house, my kids, I have 3 kids, they really love fried hearts and liver. Awesome. So whether it's from turkeys, from geese, ducks, pheasants, it's just a guarantee we're taking those. And the gizzard, I know there's some gizzard fans out there. I'm not opposed to gizzards. It's just my style of cooking 9 out of 10 times is hot and fast. and gizzards are not hot and fast. They're low and slow.
It is not a fast.
And I do low and slow. I do some braising and some things, but it's really not my favorite style of cooking. So I generally don't mess with the gizzards, but it is quite easy if you want to try it, especially if you're new to waterfowl hunting. Try these things first before you take what other people say as the end-all, be-all of what it should be.
Yeah.
Use the stock for carcass, or use the carcass for stock if you so choose.
Yes,
I've
sir.
done it a few times. I've tried it. It's really good. It is a lot of work, but you do get a large sense of pride out of it when you do have homemade duck stock.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy good. Especially if you get into some of those late season birds that are just laden with fat.
Sure.
They're just big, fat birds. They're just globs of fat all over their bodies. Like, oh my gosh, you gotta make some stock out of it.
If you make this recipe, you could totally take, when you're processing your birds, debone the meat right then. These were froze as whole legs, and I deboned them last night. But you could take those legs, which have all that cartilage, the feet have all that stuff in there, wash them, put them in that stock pot.
Absolutely.
It's going to be so gelatinous, that stock. Again, now we're talking less than 1% of duck hunters. You lined up 100 duck hunters, and maybe no one's making duck stock. But if you're new to it, or if you're looking to get more fulfillment out of waterfowl hunting, this is where you get it.
Well, look at this. I mean, we've got, those 12 birds gave you how many extra meals?
Sure, and this was
that
probably
you never would have had.
Right, and I froze multiple packages of duck legs for what I would call serving sizes for an appetizer.
Sure.
And I think I brought maybe 8 to 10 legs worth of meat with us today. Mm-hmm. We made 12 dumplings, and I bet you I used a third of the meat that I brought.
Yeah, there's a lot left over.
Third of the meat, and I made 12. So my public school math tells me that that's roughly like 36 dumplings we could have made. Mm-hmm. And as we were discussing beforehand, you can have 1-bite dumplings. You could have a fuller 2-bite dumpling. You can make some smaller, fuller ones. You could make some smaller, petite ones where it's more of that chewy wonton wrapper.
Yes.
There's no structure to how it is you can make this recipe. You can make your wontons look completely different than these triangles we made.
Yeah. It's freaking gorgeous. Yeah, I love it.
It's up to you.
I like to keep the legs, and I typically just do like a slow cooked. Mm-hmm. Chuck them in the crock pot. End of season kind of meal. Like you save all your legs, just chuck them in the pot all at once. And I'm same as you. I'm shooting like 1 or 2 birds at a time, and I'm trying to maximize what I pull from each bird because I never limit out.
Right.
So I've probably got 8 ducks worth of legs, 16 legs in my freezer right now. End of season, I'll just do like a pulled duck sandwich leg.
Yep. It's way more approachable, let's say, than this, just by nature. But buffalo dip. We take goose leg meat, duck leg meat, wild turkey leg meat, and we low and slow it in a crock pot. We shred it and we make buffalo dip out of it. And again, the duck flavor is really neutralized, and people love buffalo chicken dip.
Yes.
Yes. And most times
it's getting to be football season here.
Yeah.
So you're going to need some appetizers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a whirl. Goose. Yeah. Is like duck. I could see like when you actually get the duck legs, I mean, they're tiny little things. So like it's like 1 bite per leg. So like I could almost justify it. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Because I save the legs and they're delicious. But geese, on the other hand, that's almost like half the size of the breast. Like they are a lot bigger than you think if you have not taken a goose leg.
One of my favorite cuts of meat, arguably, and I rarely cook with it, but stay with me here, is a Canada goose thigh.
Oh my gosh!
It just it's dark meat, so the muscle grain and all that is way different than a really lean Canada goose breast. Canada geese get a bad rap for being greasy. You hear it all the time, like Canada geese are greasy.
You're cooking it wrong.
Well, it's just they're incredibly lean, right? So what it is when a lot of times, especially late season birds, they can be full of fat under their skin.
Yes.
And that skin has a very low melting point. It just melts right in your hand. So now your hands are greasy. So inevitably you just believe that the meat is greasy.
Yeah.
And really out of all the wild game I cook, the leanest of all of them is a goose breast. It is the quickest to get dry if you were to overcook it or put it in a crock pot.
Yeah.
Crock pots necessarily aren't my favorite for goose breasts because they can really get so dry. I would say on smaller ducks like teal, that's tough sometimes to justify keeping those legs.
Tiny.
But when you've got nice, big, fat mallards, especially late season when they've got some fat on them. So I separated them. I kind of sorted them in from like prime, choice, etc.
Okay.
And I've got some that I just labeled fatty ones. The skin isn't on them, but there's a huge layer of fat. and I might try to do some sort of confit.
Yeah.
I've never done it before. Jenny Wheatley from Food for Hunters, she's done some things with pheasant and ducks where she basically cooks them in their own fat. I'll probably supplement some olive oil or something, but just try
if you save up all your fat, like just literally carve the fat off the carcass.
Yep.
Chuck that in your leg bag, and then just sous vide that. Like I think that'd be beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a chef in town here, Knife and Board, for a while that had a duck confit sandwich, and it was he sous vide that thing for almost 24 hours. I feel like, which probably a little long, but it was a farm duck, not a wild duck. But oh my gosh, the meat that came off that bag was just crazy good.
And it sounds crazy intimidating, and I'll tell you, I'm intimidated because I've never made it. But really, it's taking the legs.
Yeah,
and cooking them in their own oil or in a oil at a low and slow temp. It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
You just got to get out of your comfort zone. And that's pretty much a lot of what my page is approachable meals. It's just not those 4 that everyone always makes.
Yeah. Well, let's, speaking of comfort zones, let's go back to the 5th quarter, heart, liver, gizzard, that sort of things. What are you doing with your hearts and livers? Like if you're not going to fry them, like, do you have anything else that you do, or is that just like,
no,
is that the go-to?
No, it is the go-to for sure. But I have another one that you can probably Google. It's out there on the internet, but it's called my HLT Waterfowl slider. So when I know I always keep the heart and liver, and then what I also do is I take the tender off the back of the breast meat because it cooks more evenly when it's not on there. So I'd always have them sitting to the side, and I'm like, how can I make all those into one recipe together? And again, I am very creative. Like I said, I'm not trained, but I do have a mind that explores. I'm like, if I just took all 3 of those things and chopped them up and made them into a thin patty, and then made them into a slider, it'd have to be good, right? So a lot of people, they get turned off if there's liver in there and stuff.
It's a gorgeous combination.
Yeah,
like, I've never had yours, but like I know it's gonna be gorgeous.
Just stay with me here, because like there's ways to hide it, if you will.
Oh yeah.
So the liver kind of acts as a binder, if you will, between the tenderloin or the tender of the duck and the heart. And the tender, what I do is I go through the process. If anyone's ever had a chicken tender, a goose tender, a wild turkey tender, they've got that membrane, that tendon that runs through there.
Yeah.
Take your time to get that out of there, even with ducks, with this recipe. And then you literally do. I mean, you could put it in a food processor, but you're not really looking for that emulsified texture like we did with these. You're looking for more of that brat, coarser heart, coarser tenderloin, but that liver is emulsified and acts as a binder. It's a messy dish to make, but it does not look pretty. I promise you, it just doesn't look great when you're making it.
It's uncased sausage, essentially. Yeah,
it's more goofy
with no fat. Right?
It's more goopy than that. It's not pleasant necessarily to look at, but if you stay with the process,
kind of like a pate.
Yeah. And so, but you kind of form it into a patty. I mean, everyone's played, in a mud puddle and made mud pies. You're basically making a mud pie, but you season it. I use Cavender's Greek seasoning. It's very floral. It's very aromatic.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And it hides that liver flavor. And so I season it with that, and then you can go through the whole trouble of flour, egg, breadcrumb, or you can just probably do breadcrumb and probably be fine. But you pan sear it.
Oh my gosh.
And then what I found really helps balance it is a crisp white onion, like a good bit of white onion. It's kind of a play on liver and onions, if you will. And then sriracha mayo, like spicy mayo.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you could use tomato and lettuce for that whole HLT. So the HLT stands for heart, liver, tenderloin, but it's kind of like a BLT kind of play, in your mind. But on a little Hawaiian roll with that thin slider, it's kind of crispy because of the breadcrumbs.
Let's go.
And then if you flash freeze them and put them in the freezer, when you thaw them back out and you kind of pan fry them to warm them through, they're almost better the second go round because that seasoning has had a time to permeate through there. I don't make it very often. If I make it once a year, would even be a stretch.
Okay.
Because we do like fried hearts and livers and such. But my oldest son would 100%. He has in the past requested that for his birthday dinner.
Nice.
Like it's really solid. It's again HLT Waterfowl slider. You should be able to find it on the
sounds incredible.
interwebs.
Yes.
So that's another thing I do. I off the top of my head, I don't probably do a whole lot else other than frying them. I do just kind of purge them in water, not salt water, just plain old water. Just
the
kind of
livers or
the
everything?
liver, the hearts,
Everything?
not the tenderloins, but the livers and hearts. I kind of just let them bleed out, if you will.
Yeah.
Change the water as needed. A cool thing about livers, and I learned this from Hank Shaw, especially late season, especially if you're eating a lot of corn, like they'll be really yellow from like
really?
If you weren't knowledgeable of the situation, you think it might be diseased or something because they're not dark and red, but they're really just chock full of fat from all the corn they've been purged.
Really?
on.
Okay.
It's kind of like a wild frogwa, which is just like a really fatty liver. And you just know they're going to eat so much better. They're going to be creamier. They're not going to be as liver tasting, if you will. They're all delicious, but yeah, we just fry them up. We could actually use the bachans. You can use whatever dipping sauce you'd really prefer.
Nice.
But our kids destroy them.
Yes.
Just destroy them. And you can throw the tenders in there too and deep fry them too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I take the hearts and I slice them long ways in half because there's a little pocket in there, right, of cavity. And if that were to seal up and there's moisture in there,
Explode on you?
This is the disclaimer, okay? Like
Oh, no.
your little grease trap, your little flapper thing to keep the grease from flopping, arguably may not be enough. Like use caution when deep frying livers and hearts because there is moisture in there and it will snap, crackle, and pop on you.
Oh my word, yeah.
So if you survive, it just makes the food taste that much better.
What's a little oil burns here and there?
Right.
Well, 100%. Yeah. If listeners, if you're like me, where like the benefits of liver, like just the nutrition is off the charts. Like we need to be eating more liver, but it's a hard thing for me to stomach just because I don't like the flavor. This sounds like the perfect way to just take that liver, transform it into something that's actually palatable.
Yeah, and you can brine it too. Whether, and again, a simple brine, again, I'll give credit where credit's due. This is Hank Shaw's recipe, but it's just a simple quart of water to a quarter cup of kosher salt.
Okay.
Just that simple. If you were to brine those hearts and livers in that for 24 hours, it would taste that much better than just that raw, not, touched.
So you're
flavor.
not a like a milk or buttermilk guy? Like you don't soak?
I'm not. No, I'm not. And
For liver specifically?
For liver specifically, maybe, but maybe a deer heart. But I'm not going through all that hassle, and we're not buying buttermilk at the house on a regular basis.
Never.
So my whole platform is just like I'm not trying to go across country to get an ingredient, right? So plain water to me is what I do most times. I just don't want that added sodium in there for the salt. People say it kind of pulls the blood out. Well, really, some people say like it kind of tightens the meat up.
I can see that, yeah.
And it forces the blood out. Well, now
you're pulling more water out at that point.
Yeah,
of
it's
the,
right.
Of
It's
the
just
meats,
it's tougher. It's just inherently a little tougher. So I just use plain water. It suited me really well, and I don't even use water that often. But if I do use it, that's what I'm using it for. Or that's the style in which I'm using it.
So I've heard of the buttermilk, but I've never attempted it.
I've attempted it with deer liver.
Deer.
I think it not only helps pull some of that blood out of there. What I've done with deer liver, not to get off topic, but I'll slice it, just to help it better get out of there. But it also kind of helps balance maybe the pH and such. I've tried deer liver. I've made some really palatable recipes that are edible. It's just not our thing. So I use the deer liver for other things.
Yeah. Well, it sounds an awful lot like a sausage that some local chefs here have made. Chris Eiley and Neil Brown just like knocked it out of the park. Like some of the best sausage I've ever had. I talked to them after the event, and they're like, yeah, there's a lot more liver in that than you think. Mm-hmm. And they gave me the recipe, and it's a lot of liver.
Yeah. And boudin down in Louisiana, right? Like I love good boudin. It's so good.
Yes.
And when done properly, like if you didn't tell people that there was liver in there,
You never
7 out of 10 people wouldn't know that there was.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I need to start saving livers and doing more of this with that. Well, back to water and soaking. Are you soaking breasts at all? Breast or thighs?
A lot
Ducks, geese,
a lot of times I might give them a quick rinse under the sink if they're quote clean, like no broken bones, no big heavy shot spots. I'll give them a quick rinse to get any remnant feathers that might still be on there from the plucking process or whatever. If I do have shot breast, which is very common, right? I mean, they're just pummeled, which is unfortunate, but it's a very realistic part of this deal. Again, I've generally got cold water running. This is before I soak them. And I find those trouble spots, and I really just dig my thumb. I just dig it in there into that hole. And I'll, if it requires light scraping, then it's light scraping. If I realize I feel the hole and I'm just going to keep tunneling through it, then I tunnel through it and I get that out of there. Now that means that I can't use that breast for a particular recipe because it's not going to show as well, right?
Sure.
That said, I do believe waterfowl gets a bad rap a lot of times because those are the shot spots that I can see. Sure. Sometimes you can't see them all, and there's this huge pocket of coagulated blood inside, especially a goose breast.
Yeah, those steel pellets tend to burrow. And
yeah. And so that is where a lot of this bad irony blood flavor comes from. It's literally from blood that came into that breast. A lot of people, when red fluid drains from your meat, they call it blood, but really it's myoglobin.
Yeah.
And so I don't get corrected online. I always say fluid, drain the fluid away. But in this particular case, what we're talking about, it's straight blood. It's straight coagulated blood in that duck breast, that goose breast. It's purple and thick, and it's running through all the fibers. Cut that out of there, because milk's not going to help you. A water soak's not necessarily going to help you. You're going to have to trim that out of there, because you're trying to create, at least especially if you're trying to introduce someone to eating it, you want to kind of create the perfect bite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously you got to watch out for shot pellets. That's a whole thing. But
actually, my tip for that.
Oh yeah.
Is this guy. We've talked about this in the past.
I've got that same one.
Yes. If you're a waterfowl hunter and you do not have one of these metal detectors, you need one. What does this cost? Like,
I think it's
maybe
like
$100.
I think it's
150?
80 to 100. 80 to 100 for that.
It's less than 150.
Yeah.
And what's it cost to replace a molar?
With steel shot, which ain't
more
moving.
than that.
Steel shot's not polymol, whatever lead is, right?
Lead's not as bad, but steel will send you
moving
to the doctor.
And so my pro tip on that is, and it will find tungsten, lead, bismuth, all that. It has nothing to do with magnets. It's just a metal detector.
Yeah.
But my pro tip is the battery, the 9-volt. When you're not using it, flip that 9-volt around 180 so it's not draining the battery, because you'll go to pull that out at the beginning of the season and your battery's dead.
Dude, honestly, I've never changed the battery on this thing. And I've had it for 3 years maybe. I don't use it all that much. Again, I don't shoot many birds.
I'm not going to challenge you on the podcast here, but will it turn on for you?
That's a good battery.
Okay, there you go. Because I hate buying batteries, especially 9 volts. And so I've just found if you flip that around backwards, it'll still close up real nice. And that's definitely a great tool. And it definitely will find a pellet in there for sure. Obviously, goose is a little more dense.
What did I do here, John?
In order to turn off, it is tricky.
Okay.
It's tricky. It's not a long hold. It's but not a short hold.
It's a kind of long hold.
Yeah. Yeah. And so maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it wasn't the battery that drained it. It does have an automatic turn.
Maybe you just left it on.
Yeah. But it's a great little tool for sure.
100% worth it. Yeah. I've found so many pellets that, like you said, they burrowed in, so you didn't see the hole.
Sure.
But somehow they were there.
Yep. And if you're going to grind goose or duck meat,
it's going to wreck your grinder.
You're going to want to try to do your best to find that before you run it through a fine plate. Now, you could run it through a coarse plate, and I've done this. You run it through a coarse plate because that shot pellet's going to flow through there. Then you take that, making sure it's not on somewhere where there's already metal, and run it through that ground meat, and it's literally like metal detecting. You're looking for that buffalo nickel, but it's a steel pellet.
Yeah, it'll pick it up. 100% it'll pick it up. Mm-hmm. And not only will it clog your grinder, but even if it just nicks the blade.
Oh yeah, it could dull something or make it
it'll literally dent it. Yeah, because that steel is no joke.
If you want to pull that back out real quick, just another pro tip too, and because I had to call Garrett to figure this out, but any normal person would just assume this is the most sensitive area of that thing. But this is what they told me.
I was shocked when you told me that.
Yeah, this is actually where you want to try to narrow in what you're looking for is to use this.
So if you're listening, not watching, it's not the tip. It's like the knife edge
there's
along the side.
A harder edge, and that's what they told me to utilize.
So the long, thin edge, but basically the knife edge is more sensitive than the actual tip.
Yep.
But tip is great, if you want to put that on one of those shot, the holes in the breast if it is a shot up bird. And
I think to that point, yes, if you're trying to pinpoint, literally, I think that's what's called a pinpoint metal detector, then use the tip. But more times than not, it's not going to find it through that dense goose breast if you're using that. You have to use that edge. It's waterproof, so don't worry about getting it dirty.
Yeah, and you almost have to do, on goose especially, you have to do both sides, I've noticed.
It's thick.
So if you scan the one side, I've missed some pellets that were at the surface on the opposite side. So definitely scan both sides, and then you won't you can't overscan your meat when there's steel in there.
And it's not foolproof, okay? It's not foolproof, but it is definitely a valuable tool. Gives you a little more peace of mind when you're eating your meat.
100%. Yeah, and you mentioned earlier giving waterfowl to new waterfowl eaters.
It'll ruin.
That's a weird way to say that. Yeah, if they bite steel, they will never try duck again. It's game over.
It is. It really is, because they won't forget it.
Yeah.
and it's not moving in there. Like you're going to chomp down on it. I always tell people, hey, chew lightly. I never chew lightly. No. You know, like do what I say, not as I do. I'll go into those dumplings and just, or whatever it is,
go to town,
and just go to town and deal with the consequences.
I've almost cracked a molar. Like I took a bite out of, I think it was either jerky or pastrami, and man, I just bit so hard, like, and it just instant regret. And like I was like a millimeter away from going to the doctor. Like it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But I toughed it out, and like the next day I was fine. But like I was danger close to like losing a tooth.
So pro tip on that, when you're making jerky, or if you've got a smoked breast or pastrami or whatever, slicing it as thin as possible to serve it to folks.
I was shocked because I thought I sliced it thin enough, but like I guess I just hit that pellet like in the exact right spot.
8-9 times out of 10, slicing it thin is going to help you. But there's that 1 or 2 times where you know, a BB, or if you're using a number 2 shot or potentially a number 4 shot that you happen to drop a goose with, or even a duck, if it's a number 4 shot, that's not that big.
Yeah.
And we use a lot of 4 shot in early season. So if you just happen to slice it on both sides of that, and that's exactly what you did. So, but it does help.
It helps a lot. Yes. Well, back to preparation. Talk more about plucking birds outside of like making stock.
Yep.
I know you said you like to keep some of the skin on your breasts.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
So,
and sorry, back up. Is that
fine.
Goose and duck, or just duck, or what is John Wallace doing there?
Sure, great question. And again, I'm not the end all be all on what you should or shouldn't do, but I generally don't pluck goose breasts or the bird itself very often. I have done that. You should pluck younger, smaller birds, because they're more tender and it's less plucking. I didn't know that when I first did it, and I took the biggest farm pond honker you could take. Me and my buddy.
Those feathers are tough to get out too.
Oh man, I was like, "Are you sure your wife's going to be fine with this?" Because it was just snowing. I mean, there was just feathers. If you ever pluck a goose, or if you've ever plucked one, you know what I'm talking about. We were on
all the down and
is a lot. So you totally can, and I do want to pluck a goose breast here this late season if I can, and I want to make pastrami with skin and fat on.
Okay.
Most times you don't see that.
No.
And I like a fatty ribeye now that I'm getting older. I like fatty brisket. I like fatty pastrami. So why wouldn't I leave that fat and skin on that goose breast? In regards to plucking whole birds, cooking whole birds, I have cooked whole birds. I've roasted them. I've followed Hank Shaw's recipe, Meat Eater's recipe. I followed them, and they're edible and they're good. It's not my favorite preparation. It's just and Hank Shaw would tell you this: if you're cooking that whole bird and you're broiling it on high, and you're getting that meat cooked to a nice medium, rare medium, and you're getting a crispy skin, you're going to sacrifice somewhere. And it's probably going to be in the legs.
Yep.
And that skin in the crack of the thighs is just going to be kind of rubbery and not cooked all the way through. And so I rarely will pluck a whole bird for the purpose of cooking a whole bird. Because generally, even if I do that, I ultimately end up taking it out of the freezer and I'm going to break it down anyways.
Yeah.
So to pluck the birds, especially just if you're starting out, just pluck the breast meat of these ducks. And there's a couple ways in which you can get out of plucking. So early season, when there's a lot of pin feathers, which are not the little hair-like feathers. Pin feathers are the feathers that are trying to plume out. Like if you've ever heard
new feathers?
Yeah, like new feathers. If you've ever heard though that duck's not fully plumed out yet, it's because it's still building these feathers.
Yeah.
So if there's a ton of pin feathers, I stop plucking and I skin the breast and I move on. Because if not, you just got to take tweezers and pull those all out.
Yeah.
And I love to pluck birds, but I don't love them that much. But if you do see birds, especially later in the season, that are really fatty and they haven't been shot up, a lot, that you shot them well, headshots only, you just kind of take your thumb. For those that are watching, you kind of take your thumb and you pinch it with the tucked in pointer finger, and you kind of just grab the feathers, roll your thumb against the skin, and just pull up, go against the grain. Smaller birds like pheasants and quail, you can easily tear the skin. It's a much more delicate process.
For sure, yeah.
But more times than not, ducks are pretty hardy, especially geese are pretty hardy. So go against the grain, and you're just doing your best. It's better to try it and fail or to learn than to not do it at all.
Yeah.
But pluck that breast all the way up to the neck, all the way along the sides, like up under the armpit.
More than you think.
Way more.
A lot more than you think.
And the reason I say that, it's not that you could get, if you don't pluck as much as you think, when you go to breast that bird out, you're just going to have to repluck some more feathers. So it's like try to do it more on the front end. So everyone doesn't want to work all that much, right? So get more of the plucking done first.
I would say that go like beyond the wing. Like if the wing is still on the bird and you're just doing the breast, like pluck.
You'll
like,
notice a
past the
skin
wing.
difference. You'll notice like on the breast, it's more of like a textured skin. And as soon as you get to the side of that bird, it's quite smooth.
Yeah.
And it's about 1/2 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch wide on a mallard. And it actually plucks way easier than the breast meat itself. It's mostly down feathers. It's a different feather. Yeah. But I try to pluck all my ducks to the skin, and then I judge from there whether or not it's worthy of continuing to be plucked.
Sure.
And then once I go from there, I just take my breasts and I generally breast them out separately. I generally don't pluck the legs and keep the skin and fat in the legs. Yeah. Not that you couldn't. You could totally do that confit recipe that we were talking about earlier, but I'm just trying to push those legs out of there and get them out, and they're pretty much skinned out. But if you look again, one of my recent posts, you'll see a bunch of mallard breasts that are plucked, and they're beautiful. And some are shot up, some aren't.
So gorgeous.
And some of those I might eventually rip the skin off and make some other recipe, but at least I have that option. Once you get a skinless duck breast, I mean, that's what you've got. Now you can do different things with it, but it's not near as much as when you have that skin and fat on there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pluck them all. Now, mind you, I've got 3 kids who all hunt with me, and they all help in this process. So it's not a one-man show doing all this.
That is big help.
I have them learn how to pluck. My one son, I asked him if he'd help me the other day. I was like, just help me with the plucking, and I'll do everything else.
Yes.
And
it is easier to do that sooner, which kind of follows or segues into my next question. Are you aging your birds whole at all, or are you just like butchering straight away?
Great question. So it's funny, like
I want to come back to the breasts,
So I do age my birds. I try to age them. I'll be honest, and I kind of funny here, but I'm kind of telling the truth. Like sometimes, again, taking those kids out, or I do mentor a lot of new people to duck hunting, and I got to make sure they don't shoot species they're not supposed to shoot, and I got to make sure their muzzle's in the right spot. It's quite mentally exhausting.
Yes. Not
to mention duck hunting in general. If you're in waders and you're in muck and doing a bunch of stuff, it's a lot of work. So I say I age my birds in the fridge, which I am, but really I'm just too tired to clean them at the current moment. And so I generally always, even when I'm hunting, if I'm not hanging them like on a strap or something, if we're on the ground, I face them with the breast facing up. I just don't want all that blood rushing to the breast meat as much. But I face them with their belly facing up. I do the same thing with doves, so they can just kind of cool off a little faster.
Just like on a tray in your fridge.
Well, generally no. I just put them. Bless my wife's heart, she's really generous. We have what I call a beverage fridge, but it's also our game fridge,
the garage fridge. Yeah,
and I'm flopping those ducks right on. It might be a 12-pack of Mountain Dew or whatever, but because I'm just putting them in there. And I'd say 1 to 2 days would be ideal. You could definitely go longer for sure. I mean, there's all kinds of methods out there for aging your birds for a long.
Depends on
period of
how
time.
the bird was shot. Yeah, if it's guts or like hanging out.
The one thing that
be careful.
So that's a great segue. So the one thing that really kind of stops me from aging them too long, more than say 2 days, is I do really love the heart and liver. And sometimes if you go 5-6 days, it's not that breast meat isn't amazing and it's really aged and things have set in that's going to make it really tender and taste better. But now you might have sacrificed the ability to go in there, in my opinion, just because what I like and don't want to smell and so on is those guts in the heart. I might keep the heart maybe, but probably not the liver most times. So those are best fresh.
Absolutely,
and you can gut the birds and kind of leave them in there on the carcass, just like you would a deer, if that's important to you. So it just depends. It depends on how exhausted I am, to be honest, whether they go in the fridge or if it's cold outside, because we've had some really cold weather here lately, and I'll put them outside. And I'll get to them when I get to them. But I'll only say this because I believe a lot of waterfowlers fall into this trap, but I'll get to them when I get to them, and it's a week, and they've gone bad, and now you're trashing them. And it's a topic that probably a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's easy to do. And so if you are that type of person who might like not want to do it, it's best just to rip that Band-Aid off when you get home, clean your birds.
Yep.
And you're not going to notice a huge difference in taste.
Yeah. I think it is worth aging, though. It is... It does make little changes. Yeah, if you're used to waterfowl and eating, certain ducks that have flown in from certain places, like you'll notice a big change. Yeah, just overall flavor. Plus, it does spread out the window of time. With venison, it's game changing. You had to hang your quarters and work on it over the course of a week or two. For ducks, just like I said, it's an exhausting task. So the longer you can spread out that workload.
I said it earlier, it's a labor of love. Like you've got to love to, I shouldn't say you love to do it. You love to respect the animal. You love to cook. You want the most out of that animal as you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Well, back to the breasts and skin. We talked about duck predominantly, which is stunning. You need to keep the fat and the skin on the duck breast. That is beautiful. And I'll never unless it's really bad shot up, I will never take the skin off the breast if I can avoid it. Goose, on the other hand, maybe I just haven't tried it enough, but I'm just not a fan of like the way that goose fat and skin tastes. So like, do I need to try it again in your opinion, or?
So I've had limited experience with skin and fat on goose. I had that whole plucked bird that I cooked for, I think, like Christmas one year.
Okay.
And it was great. It was really great. But I would say is that doing that pastrami where you're smoking it for 4 hours is going to render that fat. It's going to crisp that skin. It's going to be way different than, say, pan searing that goose.
Yeah.
Because it's a hardier bird. I mean, we were killing some late season geese this year, and the amount of down and the fat they had with the number 2, we were using number 2 steel shot because we're mainly duck hunting.
Sure.
Many of those shots were just sitting just under the skin, never even penetrated the meat. Obviously, head shots or a broken wing is what ultimately was the demise of that bird. I don't want to get sidetracked, but as far as ducks go, the other thing too, as I'll reference, do you have a little bias in regards to, are you mostly shooting puddle ducks? Because I know like divers can be a whole nother.
We're 99% mallard here.
So
it's for me in my ponds. Yeah, it's pretty rare that I see divers.
So just to be clear, so generally speaking, if you're hunting divers, and I have limited experience with divers, but they do get a stigma of not tasting as good as puddle ducks.
Right.
Some of the best eating ducks, like canvasback, is a diving duck, so that kind of neutralizes that argument. I love eating redhead ducks; they're really good. Other people have had great experience with other diver ducks, but generally speaking, if you do, a lot of the flavor does stay in the fat of that bird, right? So, coots get a bad rap. I like coots, but generally I skin and I take the fat off because I'm trying to neutralize as many of those potential off-putting flavors because it's all based on diet.
Yeah.
Is that coot in Arkansas just eating rice in the rice fields, or is it eating crawfish? California pintails versus Louisiana pintail. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I love it. Anything else you want to talk about as far as utilizing the bird? I know you said you're not a huge fan of the gizzards. I don't do much with duck gizzards, again, just because they're so tiny. But I love some goose gizzards. And I almost do like a pseudo dumpling-ish dish out of them where I'm, boiling them, kind of steaming, and then like really crisping up that one edge. And it just gets, if you boil them long enough and steam them long enough, like they just get like really creamy inside.
Oh yeah.
Then they get that crispy exterior, like, oh my gosh. But they are gnarly. Like when you pull it out of the bird, you cut that thing open, it's full of gravel and grass, and it just looks like sin.
Yeah. It's an interesting organ.
Yes.
It's very interesting. I would say a coot, for those that don't know, a coot gizzard is huge.
Really? Okay.
For the size of the bird, a coot gizzard is huge. Maybe the same size as a goose.
No.
I'm not lying.
I mean, a goose is like a crab apple. Like that thing is huge.
A coot's pretty much right there. A coot's pretty much right there. So the best way I've ever had gizzards, and I did not make this myself, nor were they waterfowl gizzards, but similar to your point, but pressure cooked so they get super tender.
Yes.
And then dredged and deep fried. Yes. So you get that crunch.
Oh my word, yeah.
The crisp, but it's still creamy. And it's a weird word to use, but if you know what we're talking about, just like that liver and that HLT, or I've used, I don't get off topic again, but deer hearts in sausage making. I'll do like a 50-50 deer meat, deer heart ratio of meat added with fat. And it's just a creamy, nice texture that, if you know what I'm talking about, it is delish.
It's an internal organs. Yeah, I think the creamy description's not off-putting.
Yeah, not to me, because
if you like internal organs,
more for me to eat.
Yes. What else do you have to think here on duck hunting in general? I guess talking about some of the taboos, soaking in milk, soaking in water. I do like to soak my goose. I don't ever typically soak ducks. Definitely not the breast. Rarely the legs. Maybe if it's shot up, I might soak the legs. But goose, I've had a lot of success soaking those breasts overnight. And just again, if you need to change the water because it pulls too much of that myoglobin blood out of it, change the water, keep it fresh. That definitely tames down that flavor quite a bit.
So I guess I am showing my bias too, because I kind of forget sometimes because I just take things for granted. But like I utilize that Gamebird and Poultry brine for waterfowl especially, but especially goose. Because everyone loves or everyone talks about how they love goose pastrami. So goose pastrami is
Love
like
goose
it's like a 4-day process, though,
Yes.
right? Like you got to get the bird, then you got to get the salt cure and all that. You got to have pink salt. You got to have all this stuff, and you know I love it too, but it's a lot of work. What I found is if you brine it in this, you get the same cured goose breast result, but you can put a little bit of a flavor profile on the outside as whatever it is you like. You know, if it's a steak seasoning or maybe it's a barbecue seasoning. But so I don't soak them in water for the sake of, because I think the meat needs it, let's say, but I do brine it on large, giant Canada geese. I mean, every bit of 2 days brining, if not 3 days for those large ones, right? On a smaller, younger goose, you could probably get away with 1.5 to 2 days. But I'm brining that because of, I mean, yes, it drastically changes the flavor of the goose. I had a breast the other day. I had a gentleman bring some over to me. And there's that membrane that runs through a lot of birds that goes right through the center of the breast. Yeah. It starts at the armpit and it's real thick there. And I always kind of chop that off the best I can because that's a very inedible piece right there at the armpit where it meets the wing. But then that thins out and runs through there. And I shaved and created 2 chunks of meat from that goose breast. And I brined it. And I seared it in a pan just like I would a backstrap. And I cooked it. And it's on one of my recent posts. And my kids legit thought it was deer meat.
Oh, it's crazy good.
It tasted like deer meat. It looked like deer meat. You know, if you cook a medium rare goose or medium goose, specifically medium rare, it's like purple on the inside if you don't brine it or anything. It's kind of an off-putting color. And you're really getting full-on goose flavor. You're getting full-on duck flavor. And that's not for everybody. So that brine it's not just salt and water. There's flavors in there, and it's amazing. But even if you did just do the salt, like I mentioned earlier, a 1/4 cup of salt to a quart of water and brine that bird. Again, I'm not doing it for the sake of soaking it. You got to remember that if you do soak it that way in the salt water, and then you take it out a couple months later and you salt it heavily and you're going to go grill it, you forgot you brined it. So
right on the bag, what you did before you freeze it.
So you want to be very light and strategic with your rub and try to get a rub that maybe doesn't even have salt in it. It's just the other flavors.
Yes. Steak, eating goose breast like steak, top tier. And Meat Eater has a chutney recipe that I'm in love with.
Nice.
It's just honey, green apples, raisins, golden raisins, cherries, and apple cider vinegar. And you cook that down, make it real sticky and dense, and just put that on top of the goose breast. Oh my gosh.
So this all sounds really like high class, chutney. And people are like, what's a chutney, right?
Oh.
But you can't not try that and then say that goose breast tastes bad. Because when you try it, but if you cook it properly, it tastes great.
That's the ticket right there. Cook it properly.
But if you can't cook it properly and you add something like a sweet chutney to it, it's amazing. So I buy one, and I don't know the name brand, but I buy it from my local grocery store, and it's called an apple and plum chutney. And I take it to my events, and it's really, really, really good with smoked meats. So I'll have a charcuterie board, and I'll have that on there, and it's just a great pairing. Just like a lot of wild game is great with Asian flavors. Just that sweet component added in specifically with waterfowl is a great neutralizer of flavors maybe that certain people may not like.
Well, it's just a beautiful combination. That fruits and waterfowl combo.
And if you don't want to make a chutney, buy one. Just buy one and pair it with it so you can enjoy these birds that you're hunting. Because I do believe many waterfowlers they're not putting any effort into what is other than what is legally required, right? And there's maybe some people that don't even do that. And there's all sorts of stuff on social media that I try to my page is to inspire them and give them easy, approachable ways to just maximize all that work. Goose especially, there used to be a time in Ohio where when I first started, you could kill 2 birds.
Okay.
So you go through all this work, set up your decoys, whatever.
2 birds,
it's a lot.
jeez.
And then if you scouted well, here come your 2 birds, bang, bang, and you're done. And there's a lot of people that get a lot of thrill out of that. For me, I try to work smarter, not harder. So I'd love, now that we can get 5 birds, it makes it a lot more useful if you can get into some birds like that. A lot of times geese for us are secondary, they just happen to fly over us as we're duck hunting. But just utilize those legs at a minimum, and you can just low and slow them in a crock pot, and you can make barbecue goose, you can make pot pie, you can make buffalo dip, you can make whatever you would normally make with shredded meat.
I saw a post online just the other day about, I forget what state it was, but it was just 2 dumpsters at the back of a restaurant, just loaded with
Mississippi.
snow geese.
Yeah, it was in Mississippi.
Loaded
It was
with
like
snow
200
geese.
of them.
Oh, it was insane.
They didn't clean the birds, and
nothing was taken.
Despite what you may believe to be legal or illegal in regards to snow geese and how we have a spring conservation order and they're detrimental to the tundra and all that, that's all true. These birds were not killed during the conservation order, so they still apply to, because that's in the spring. So it still applies that you have to utilize that meat. And at a minimum, I believe it's just the breast meat's all that's legally required to take. I know that they're still ongoing. I don't have all the details, but I will tell you, regardless whether they're snow geese, Canada geese, or whatever, there are just waterfowlers who have not been raised or mentored correctly into the waterfowl world. Yeah. And you should really only shoot what you plan to eat. In regards to the conservation order, I mean, sometimes if you're in a flyway, you might be killing 200 birds. And it also, with the conservation order, you may not be legally required to take any of the meat. You have to dispose of them properly. And I get you're kind of hunting for conservation, not for eating. I totally get all that. But that aside, take some of those birds and make jerky at a minimum, right? Because again, snow geese specifically gets a bad rap.
Places to donate, right? Like you do with deer. Like, can't you?
So a lot of times, what I've heard is processors don't want to process that meat.
That's a lot of work.
It has nothing to do with that. They don't want that shot pellet we talked about earlier.
Risk.
Nice little callback there. They don't want that shot pellet going into their big commercial grinders, and that grinder costs how much money? That commercial,
a little bit more.
And so, and there's all kinds of other stuff like avian flu and other things they may not want to contaminate with. But, again, on topic, but I'm going to pivot. I've only ever killed one coyote, and I would have loved if she would have been a little more pretty and I could have got her tanned. But she wasn't the prettiest gal at the ball. Not that she was anything wrong with her. But it was late January. I think it was actually the last day of January, and I ended up eating her back straps. I'm like, well, if I can't tan her, I'm going to at least eat some of this meat. And again, I think I did a poll, like less than 5% of people have ever even tried coyote.
I haven't tried.
And like of the 3 people who said they had were the people who inspired me to eat it. So, it's, but I made.
What'd you think?
I made Mississippi pot roast with it after I'd kind of pan seared some really, really well because trichinosis and all that. Yep. It tasted like overcooked deer meat, but that's because I overcooked the heck out of it. I did it on purpose, right? But we made Mississippi pot roast with it, and my kids destroyed it. Again,
nice.
They thought it was deer meat. I don't know why they thought that, but it chewed better. The muscle fibers of that backstrap were different than, say, the shanks we normally use from deer. So it was a different mouthfeel. Taste-wise, it tasted just like deer meat. I mean, I said someone said you could put your leather boot, your Irish setter boot, in that crock pot, and it's going to taste good for Mississippi pot roast.
Right.
But I would 10 out of 10 times, again, eat a coyote in a crock pot, Mississippi pot roast style. And it's pinned to the top of my page. Nice. That middle post is coyote. It looks like a pot roast.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, back to all the food waste and whatnot. Just like they're gorgeous meals. If they just listen to half of our conversation, and just cook it properly, like how many meals were in that dumpster? Like you could have fed 400 people.
Yeah.
With all those geese in that dumpster, and it's just, to me, that's mind-boggling that much meat would go to waste. And I know it's a ton of work, but like.
Just as hunters, I mean, if you're killing that bird or deer or whatever, you should do your best to honor that bird. If you don't have the capacity in the kitchen to do it, then get it processed in a way that is a way in which you will consume. Yeah. If that's all jerky or if it's all summer sausage or it's whatever it may be.
Goose summer sausage, that's...
Oh, it's really good. And again, it's kind of going back to that crazy, creamy
good,
flavor. It's not creamy in a bad way. It's a nice...
It's different.
Creamy mouthfeel when you're chewing on that meat. It's just really good. And you add some cheddar cheese in there, some high temp cheese.
Yes.
Because again, there's a lot of people who just don't even utilize deer and other things as far as that meat waste.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resources out there to cook wild game.
Absolutely.
Right? Over the last 10 years that I've seen Instagram grow and social media grow, there's all different cooking styles out there for you. Very approachable cooking styles, very high-end chefy type cooking styles. If you've got skills in the kitchen or limited skills in the kitchen, you should be able to find ways to make really tasty meals. You just got to have the patience to do it.
Yes. And I would say a caveat to that is just be mindful of where you're getting these recipes. I've had a lot of comments recently about AI and AI recipes and them just being wildly off base. Recently, I did a post about those deer trotter stock, deer trotter stock. And a follower wrote back in and said, hey, like I Googled a recipe and like I could tell it came from AI, and it told me to use borax in the recipe.
Because it was mixing, like cleaning them probably.
Yeah,
For like,
so I'm like, is this AI trying to like cull the herd here a little bit? But be mindful, like make sure, even if it's a real person, I'm not pointing at John because of this,
yeah,
but,
sure.
like,
I'll say something.
There's a
about
lot
that,
of
but-
bloggers out there who will just generate these AI crap recipes and repost them. Follow somebody like John, who is like a legit human being writing these recipes that he is trying himself.
Sure. Well, I really appreciate that. I've never even used AI for anything work related, personal related. That's why I really hate writing recipes, because I just find it really hard to take how I made something and put it to paper, because I'm not saying I don't know how I made it, but there's no rhyme or reason. I've cooked for over 24 years now. Again, started probably my third year of college, and I've just learned how to cook. It's like anything. And once you understand something, you just do it. I was given someone
with wild games, especially, it's a different thing that you almost need to be fluid, because every deer's not the same, every duck's not the same. We mentioned puddle ducks, diver ducks. You're going to cook them very differently.
even the same duck regionally can be different.
Yes, rice fed mallard versus a corn mallard.
A young goose,
yeah,
a 10-year-old goose.
So you need to be fluid.
Yeah.
And your recipe over in Ohio is probably not going to be the same as, the goose I'm going to shoot here in Indiana.
Sure.
So-
A lot of once you have practice, and if you are an avid waterfowl hunter listening to this, because I've had avid waterfowlers tell me this, I'm talking the ones who are really just stacking birds, hunt in, hunt out. When they're field dressing birds, whether it be ducks, but specifically geese, you can feel whether that goose breast is firm or it's just softer. Now that could be because of age. It could be in the way that it died. Did it die a quick death? Was it an injured goose that you had to run down for 200 yards and it's got a lot of things happening and stress? But when you process those birds, you can determine how easy was it to pull the skin back, or how hard is that meat. If you're dealing with a deer, just because it's a fawn doesn't necessarily innately mean that it's going to be tender. If it was stressed out when it died, it could totally be tougher than it should be. And that just really comes with practice in the kitchen.
Yeah,
And
the buck I shot this year was the oldest, biggest, ruddiest smelling buck I have ever shot. And just for whatever luck, when I shot him, he barely moved. And he didn't run, he didn't buck, he didn't do anything. I thought I missed.
Yeah.
He walked 20 yards, staggered, and fell over. And he has been some of the best eating I've ever had.
Very nice. Yeah.
From a huge, old, ruddy buck.
Yeah. There's a lot of misnomers out there in regards
crazy.
to ruddy bucks.
Yeah.
Field prep is huge. A lot of people carry smells with them that they smell during that whole process.
Yes.
They carry it with them mentally when they pull that. They have almost already got it predetermined that this buck is going to taste this way. And it's just a real thing. I'm guilty of it too. When I get done processing ducks, geese, I'm not touching a goose or a duck. I'm not cooking duck for a week or more.
It's got a smell, the inside of a waterfowl.
It's just like, I'm going to let things simmer. I'm going to eat some chicken for a week, until I can just get back in a good place. Now,
it's a real thing.
I've been around long enough to know that I can get back to that place. Some people who aren't real comfortable in that world, they never let go of those smells, those sights, the sounds, etc. And that just comes with, I don't say maturity, but it's like, hey, like, this food's good. I promise
you got to learn to
it.
compartmentalize those odors and those
Try
memories.
this food. I promise you're going to enjoy it.
Yes. Well, dude, any other parting thoughts? I think my only other question, in our notes, we have the lymph node. And we know on whitetail there are some things we need to watch for. I want to circle back to cooking whole birds.
Yep.
Which I've done. I've plucked and cooked whole birds, never successfully.
Sure.
Either the legs come out wonderful and the breast is way overdone, or vice versa. Is there anything in a bird that we need to be watchful? Like if we do, again, we don't recommend it, but if you do want to cook a whole goose or a whole wood duck or whatever, like, are there any glands or anything weird we need to try and pull from that bird?
No, I don't believe so. If you don't cut up like what I believe they call the Pope's nose, but the butt, right? There's a little oiler.
Is that the oil gland?
The oil thing's right above the butt. Most times you're taking that off when you process that whole bird. If you can take just the oil gland off and you can use the butt, which has a lot of fat in it, to render that and use that for cooking, great.
You take the gland off though? Like
it's a small little, like you'll see where there's some feathers that are just kind of like pinched together.
I've always cut that out just because it's a gland, air quotes. Like I don't know what it is. It looks nasty.
It's an oiler. So if you ever see ducks pruning themselves or preening, and the reason they're waterproof, you just see, like, if you see those really good photographers and videographers, specifically videographers, they capture that water just beating off of the bird. It's because their feathers have oil on it, and it's from that oiler. They'll reach their wing back there, they'll get the oil on their wing, and then they'll put it on their head. And oil's waterproof, right? So yeah, there's that. I was gonna say when you,
you definitely want to cut that off.
Yeah,
like if you do cook the carcass for stock.
I don't think you're gonna. I don't think there's anything that's necessarily that you're gonna notice.
It's not going to be like weird off flavors. It's not going to kill you, obviously.
I really don't believe it's going to kill you. I do believe
it's just surrounded in fat, and it almost kills me every time I cut off that gland because, like, man, I'm losing like a tablespoon of fat here.
Yeah, so the gland isn't all that big itself, I don't believe. But that said, and I hope everyone takes this the right way, but most people don't have a refined palate enough to determine that is the actual pinpoint factor of any off-putting taste.
Okay.
The off-putting taste came from either you overcooked it, you didn't drain it properly, you just didn't cook it properly. There's always, in my opinion, there's other reasons why there's an off-putting taste, or maybe it just tastes like waterfowl and you expect it to taste like beef.
Yeah.
And so your expectation is just off. The one thing I would say to watch out for, though, is when you are pulling the livers out of birds, this would be any bird, there's a little green bile sac that is connected to it. You don't want that. So be very careful.
And that's on every critter. Yeah, not just water.
Oh, yeah. It's the gallbladder. Is it the gallbladder? I've always said it's the gallbladder. And so it's just this little green, it looks like a green ink sac on a bird. And when I kind of call it the claw method. You know, the claw, you go to the arcade and you're going down in there. And so you kind of go in with this claw approach to grab the liver, and you kind of pinch your fingertips underneath of it to kind of pinch and pull, and it pinches it off of that bird. And it's always one lobe or the other. One lobe doesn't have it, and the other lobe is connected with that green sac. And it's not, again, mercury. It's not just like going to kill you on touch, but it definitely is something I would not want to be touching. Sometimes if you pull the livers,
pleasant if you eat it.
Sometimes when you pull the livers off, you'll see actually a green tone to the liver itself.
A stain,
stain. It's all it is a stain. There's nothing wrong with that at all, but it's where that gallbladder was sitting. Just make sure you pinch that off. Otherwise, whole birds. Another way that I found to make them more successful. Again, you're eating that bird. You weren't successful, but you're eating it. Yeah. Just not as pleasant as some of the other recipes you've made. But one thing I found is to spatchcock that bird.
Yes.
The cook time reduces. You're able to get it hot, like way hotter, to crisp the skin a little better. It's just not traditional for most recipes. I mean, I do that with Thanksgiving turkey too. I no longer do a big, giant, whole traditional turkey on the table. It's spatchcocked.
Got to spatchcock a turkey, yes.
And it's amazing.
On the smoker. Yeah, it just opens it up for more flavor, I think, especially if you do smoke.
Yeah.
If you're not
and
brining.
It allows the salt to get in there a little better from both sides. And, just, again, I think you used a word earlier, but just get out of your comfort zone. Don't do things just because everyone's always said this is what you got to do, right? Just because some people say, oh, you just breast those birds, everything else is garbage.
Yeah.
They've never probably tried. 8 out of 10 people who've told you that the legs aren't worth it have probably never tried to cook them. Or they were introduced.
Or they did, and they cooked it like breast meat.
And it's tough and so on. So there was connective tissue. Someone asked me, what's the trick to deboning these legs? There's no trick.
Ooh.
Just debone them. And there was some little tendons in there. They're very soft tendons. When you see it, you're going to see these little white lines in your meat. I know what they are, and I know how they taste, so they don't bother me a bit. They shouldn't bother you either, but just know that they're in there and they're going to be fine.
Yeah. Hot tip there. Were you talking about the way to get those tendons out of legs?
Yep.
Where you just...
So I learned this from
where the leg turns orange.
Yeah,
that joint.
So it's not that, or maybe it is that joint. Yeah, it's that knee joint, and you just kind of score the skin on the outside with your knife without cutting the tendons. You break the knuckle a little bit.
You almost don't even have to score it. Like if you take the skin off really well.
A lot of times, so this is the first tip. This is the first thing I do before I breast the bird. Whatever.
Okay.
I think it's easier to do
Tell us your way, and then I'll tell you what I did.
So I found that people struggle to do this, and it's because oftentimes they take the breast out, they do this, and then next thing you know, they try to do that tendon thing, and there's just not as much to grab onto and get that leverage.
Sure.
So if I'm going to do that, I didn't do that with these birds because I had a lot of birds to do, and I'm like, you know what, it'll be all right because I know how.
I didn't notice
because I know how I'm cooking it. But if you're going to do a grilled leg method or something hot and fast where those tendons are going to be more of an issue, what I do is when I get that bird, I'm staring at it. The first thing I do is I score that skin. And I kind of break the knuckle, and I just twist about 8 times like you're tying a fishing line knot, like a cinch knot. and then you're kind of pinching the meat right at, say, the base of the calf muscle of that bird, and you're pulling that foot back, and you're going to see those tendons, most of them, not all of them, but most of them come out of that duck. It works for pheasants and upland birds too, just not as well because some of those can get kind of calcified and harder. But for ducks, it works amazing. Geese, it works too.
Yes.
For this recipe, I knew it wasn't necessarily needed, so I just cut the legs right off. But that's the first thing I do, and then I go in for the breast, and then I go in for the legs. I just pop them through, and I skin them out, and then I kind of like I'm pulling the mouth open of an alligator. I just rip that carcass up, and the heart's staring at me, the liver's staring at me, and if my daughter or somebody wants the little curl feathers of a Drake mallard, I'm going to pluck those. That's how I do it.
Absolutely, yeah, 100% worth doing that tip. The tendon tip. And I just do it a little bit later in the stage. So I take the skin off, I take the leg off the carcass, and that's when I don't even score, where the orange leg starts, but I just twist it, and it just kind of, all that scaly orange foot skin kind of comes with it.
Nice.
You twist it and just pulls straight out. Much pleasant eating experience, if you're not going to cook it slow.
Yeah, so it just takes away some of those things that would hinder you if you cooked it hot and fast. It would just not be as tender. But if it's not there to begin with, now you're just eating almost like a chicken wing.
Yeah,
kind of
crazy good.
Yeah, and again, just try it.
Just try it
because you killed it, you processed it, and you cooked it. It's going to taste better to you than it is anyone else in that house.
Yes,
that's a real thing.
We mentioned this earlier in the episode. I mean, you got a bag in there that it fed you and me earlier today. Like, it's a solid appetizer. It could be a whole meal.
It
by itself.
It totally could. I think it just depends on whether you put more meat in a dumpling or less, or you just make more of them.
Yeah.
But it was just a standard sandwich size zipper bag, right? I would call it, like, you could put a piece of bread in there and have your bologna sandwich, and there's just a standard piece of
But it's a lot of meat that you're leaving in the woods if you're not taking legs.
Yeah,
and especially that's just duck.
Yeah,
again, goose is a whole different ballgame.
And goose thighs are so good.
So good.
They're so good. And then wild turkey, just because we're on the topic.
So good.
There's like 3 pounds of meat on an adult gobbler. And again, it's not the same as a breast, or you've got to low and slow it. And I've got some great recipes out there. I'm sure Chris does too. There's some popular ones out there for carnitas.
I'm going to say if I shoot another turkey, because I've been trying for ages and I just can't connect. But I've got a white chicken chili recipe that's beautiful, but I want to do that with a turkey leg. So wild turkey, white chili. Oh my gosh.
It'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yes, I just need to connect.
And it'll make, like, you can take that, you can then freeze it and, thaw it out later, the soup. And so it could easily make 4 meals for a family of 4, a young family.
Easily.
Take it to turkey camp, take it to duck camp, deer camp, whatever.
Oh my gosh. Save your legs. You're doing it wrong. Well, John, any other thoughts in your head right here? We're a little over time.
No, I enjoyed
it. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, sir.
Yeah, I just really appreciate it. And we covered it pretty well.
We did, yes. And to be honest, you kind of already gave us a recipe. So we're just going to flash forward to earlier in the episode when you're talking about these wonton-y, what are you calling them?
I think they're probably technically duck wontons.
It's wonton wrappers.
It's a wonton wrapper, which makes it a wonton. They make dumpling wrapper. Yeah, they make dumpling wrappers, which would technically make it more of a dumpling.
But duck dumpling sounds way better. So.
Yeah, it does. It sounds way better. And so it's just, it is what it is. You can. Chris has probably already showed pictures of it. Call it whatever, and I put that in my post. You call it whatever you want: gyoza, pot sticker, dumpling, wonton.
They're going to disappear. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. So.
They're so good. Watch out when you bite into it. There might be some juice. It could be a little messy. So, just eat with caution.
Yes, but make them.
They're delicious.
Crazy good. That's going to be our recipe to close the episode. So go to John's page. I'm sure, again, it's going to be towards the top of your feed at some point.
Yep, I can share it with you too. We can put it in the link to
do
the
show
podcast.
Notes for sure. Yeah.
Just always know that I don't actually measure things when I'm cooking, so I give you that basis.
Trust your heart when you're cooking.
Yeah,
just watch the salt.
Yeah, watch the salt. Watch the fresh ginger. There's some other things.
You can't have too much ginger. You could if it's fresh. Yes.
Yeah. Fresh ginger is what I used. Yeah, and so a little goes a long way. But I tried to preempt that in that recipe, and I don't write recipes out very often. But this is how important this recipe is to me, because if you make this recipe, you're inherently going to keep more duck legs. For sure.
Absolutely. Yes.
100%.
Where can people find you? Is it Wild Game Cook everywhere?
On all platforms. Okay. Yep.
TikTok, Instagram, web.
Yeah, mostly it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
Okay.
TikTok if they don't take my videos off.
We'll see.
Those are the platforms. I have a website, wildgamecook.com. You can see how to hire me for private events and things of that nature. But yeah, just reach out. I'm not any sort of crazy celebrity.
Yes.
You reach out and message me. I'm going to write you back and give you the exact answer to the question. Or I might say, hey, I don't have that answer. Reach out to Chris.
You know
or
somebody
reach
who
out to
does.
someone who does. That's more of their style.
Yeah.
I had one the other day. Have you ever cooked with, it was whitefish and some other mutton. It was mutton or lamb or something. I just flat told him, I was like, I don't have any experience with that. But yeah, appreciate it, Chris. It was fun
absolutely.
today.
It was great. Yeah. If you don't follow John, please do. And just, write in. Yeah. Tell John what you think of his dishes and give him
Or
all
if
your
you've got a
thoughts
good
and
leg
opinions.
dish, if you've got a good leg dish, what do you do with your legs?
Yeah. What do you do with your legs? Tell us. Goose legs. What I do is just goose leg, apple juice, apple cider, slow cooker.
Yep.
Just,
I've done that too, but with even funny enough, Dr. Pepper.
oh, okay.
It's been a while since I did it.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Shred it, put it on a
Sprite,
sandwich.
I think we did one with
barbecue
Sprite.
sauce.
Yeah, it's just a way to help break it down better.
Yeah.
Barbecue sauce, it's a crowd pleaser for sure.
Yes.
And generally all the shot pellets fall to the bottom of your slow cooker,
you
so
go.
it's easy to find.
Yes, sir. There you go. Well, thanks so much, John. We will tune in and report back with our findings.
Appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very important topic to me, right? It's like, 'cause I think it's very real. You said 50% of keep legs, so I think it's 5% of the duck hunters are keeping legs.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's in my circle.
Correct. In
My circle is not normal.
No, in my circle, despite what you may think, is that other circle.
Okay.
Like I have guys that kill them, and all they do is make it all into jerky. And there's
That's what
nothing
my buddy
wrong.
does,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Like jerky's good, but it's like, don't you get tired?